Howdy, folks. Hope you're keeping well. Today, we're going to learn more vocabulary with Dr. Jordan Peterson and Dr. Sam Harris. All the words will be in the discussion with plenty of example sentences. Let's do this.
Signs of the zodiac mean nothing.
Part of your argument is, and invalidly so, is how in the world do we determine which revelatory axioms are worthy of respect and of maintenance? And
the first word of the lesson is revelatory. Now, he pronounces this word differently. He says revelatory, but I'll put the stress on the first part and say revelatory. This word derives from reveal, which means to become known, usually suddenly. So, for instance, prophets sometimes receive messages or supposedly received messages from the divine. Those messages were revealed to them. So you could say that those were revelatory messages. Another good word that he uses there is axiom. What is an axiom? And I think I could give you an example. So for instance, in geometry, we know that the whole is bigger than the part of a particular shape. This is an axiom. It is a statement that is true and does not really need any proof. So it's kind of like an accepted statement or accepted form of a true statement. So we pronounce this word with stress on the first part, axiom, revelatory axiom. So he says we need to figure out which of these axioms are worth paying attention to.
fair enough, Sam.
But maybe none. Maybe not revelatory. Maybe just it is just a matter of conscious agents like ourselves having better and better conversations.
Well, it is certainly partly that. It is certainly partly that. But let me explain.
Because again, revelation in my book is nothing other than the record of past conversations. So you've either got Iron Age conversations shaping your worldview, or you have conversations like these shaping your worldview.
Or you have both. You can have both.
Yeah, but
then you have a dialogue with the past.
Which brings me to Marcus Aurelius. I read him with great pleasure and astonishment, frankly. I mean, that it is such a modern and edifying take on ethics and...
The next word of the lesson is edifying. If something is edifying, it uplifts you. It helps you understand something more deeply. It's a fantastic adjective to learn. Edifying, edifying. The verb is edify and the adjective is edifying. So when he reads Marcus Aurelius, his understanding is elevated and he is astounded. He is surprised that at that time, Marcus Aurelius had such great insight into human interactions, human relations, so on and so forth. So let's go back and hear that word again.
I read him with great pleasure and astonishment, frankly. I mean, that it is such a modern and edifying take on ethics and one's own personal well-being, and just not being encumbered by thoughts and vanities that are so easy to cut through.
When something is encumbered, it is held back, it is burdened. And this is the definition of the word encumber, which means to load something or someone up with unnecessary things. So he uses this word encumbered, which is an adjective. And he says that it is devoid of those unnecessary parts. That message doesn't have that burden on it. So let's go back and hear it again.
Personal well-being, and just not being encumbered by thoughts and vanities that are so easy to cut through once you notice them, but so captivating and deranging of your life when you don't. And
so when you don't pay enough attention to those vanities and the harmful, the bad effects, the negative impact of those particular thought patterns, ideas, and vanities, unnecessary selfishness and self-obsession, you will be able to live a more fulfilling life. Let's go back and hear the word again.
And vanities that are so easy to cut through once you notice them, but so captivating and deranging of your life when you don't. And there's more wisdom in that book than almost any book I can name, and you don't have to believe any bullshit to honor it and use it.
Let me offer you a continued explication here. You didn't...
A continued explication. What is explication? This is a very detailed explanation of something, usually a poem. Let's pronounce it together, explication, explication. It is a formal word, but sometimes people use this term to refer to an explanation of something that requires a lot more analysis. Explication, explication.
Answer my question about what all these crazy medieval people were doing, spending almost all of their excess capital, building a representation of the sky and putting an image on that. So just hang on a sec. So
excess capital, this refers to money or funds that were unnecessary, and this was something that they could spare. So this is excess capital. It was more than necessary. And you may be familiar with the word excess. It typically goes with excess wealth. This is like beyond beyond the need of that particular person. So this is excess capital, referring to that sum of money.
So let's talk about what it would mean to embody the truth. So there's a deep idea in Christianity that this is what it would mean. It would mean to confront the suffering of life voluntarily to its fullest, which would mean to accept the necessity of death and betrayal at the hands of your fellow men without undue bitterness, to accept that voluntarily and to still understand that your fundamental ethical task is to work towards the redemption of the world. And that's associated with that image that's cast upon the heavenly dome.
When you are redeemed, you are saved from evil. And the noun form is redemption. So the idea is that you should actually confront those aspects of life, aka suffering and pain. So let's go back and hear that term again.
And to still understand that your fundamental ethical task is to work towards the redemption of the world. And that's associated with that image that's cast upon the heavenly dome. And that isn't a charitable reading, Sam. That's an essential analysis of the fundamental.
Now, he says that this is not a charitable reading. When you are charitable, you are kind, and sometimes you don't have to be kind, but maybe just so you give someone a little bit of credit or you go out of your way to understand something, you are charitable. So he says this is not a charitable reading. This is an integral part of the message.
Doctrines of Christianity.
Yes, but I could do the same thing with Buddhism and give you a slightly different story, but nonetheless inspiring and edifying. And I could do the same thing with.
Yeah, but you can't do it with rationality.
But I can do it with Greek. No, that's not true. I can do it with Greek mythology. I can do it with any of these domains. But the crucial bit for me is that in order to make use of those stories, I don't have to believe in Revelation. I don't have to believe that you get everything you want after you die.
All right. So Sam seems to agree that those stories contain truths that we need to pay attention to. However, he disputes the idea that those truths are given to us through revelations or through divine inspiration. So I hope you've learned at least one word with my video lesson. Let me know in the comment section. Catch you.